radio broadcast. And we have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. Rachel, welcome to the program. How are you, my friend?
How are you? I'm good. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So, Rachel, give us a little bit on your background here.
I'm a physician, a breast cancer surgeon. I think I'm here to talk about the children's series that I've penned, that I've written for about health and physical challenges in young people.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, how did you get started doing all that you do?
That's a good question. I guess I was a multifaceted person growing up. I always liked to do a lot of different things, from hobbies to athletics. I always loved writing. Writing has always been a passion of mine. So even though I went through medical school and residency and fellowship to be a breast cancer surgeon, I also enjoyed writing in my free time. So now I'm sharing some of that writing with the world.
So, how do we get in touch with you on the web, social media, everything?
Sure, you can find me on www.drru.health. That's my website. I'm all over. Dr. Wellner, Rachel Wellner. I'm all over social media, Twitter. I have a Twitter page, RB Wellner. What else? You can find my books on Amazon. So if you look under Dr. Rue and Dr. Marsha, you'll find the two books that I've written. And I have a third one coming out over the next couple of weeks.
Fantastic, fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. Dr. Rachel Wellner is with us. Dr. Rue, in the case of the hacking hippo, she joins us here on our big program. So, Dr. Wellner, tell us a little bit about this book and why you decided to write it. Give me all the details here.
I will. Thank you. Well, this book is about Dr. Rue. She's Dr. Marsha Rue. She is a female physician who gets a call usually on the other side of the world, but this time it's in her backyard. She gets called to the Sydney Opera House, and the main star is Hilda the hippo, and she's got a cough, and she's not getting any better, and it's impairing her ability to sing. So Dr. Rue is on the case. Why I chose a hippo for the opera stars, because hippos have very loud voices, and if you see them in large communities, their voices can reach about 150 decibels, which is the same as a rock concert. So she's our main star, and not to a spoiler alert, she's not washing her hands after she takes a mud bath. Hippos like to take mud baths. They actually make their own mud baths and splash around in them. So this book is really about teaching proper hand hygiene. That's where the mystery takes us towards the end of the book.
So, Dr. Wellner, what do you want readers to take away from your writing of this book?
I want children and their parents to enjoy the colorful characters. I want them to get engaged in the mystery. I've taken the sort of the tool of a differential diagnosis in the form of a mystery. So she rules out one cause, a second cause, a third cause of what could be causing Hilda's cough until she finally arrives at the real cause, which is her own lack of hand washing. As we know, failure to wash hands is the most highest cause of infection spreading in the hospital, and it's definitely cause of infection outside of the hospital. So it's really important that people know how to wash hands, to do it for 20 seconds, to suds up. Those are the messages that I want kids to obtain from the book.
Dr. Rachel Wellner with us today. She joins us live here on our big program. So what is next for you as an author?
I have Dr. Rue in the Case of the Red Hot Hawaiians coming out soon. I have a couple of novels coming out as well that I'll talk to you about in another program.
Definitely. So, Dr. Wellner, these books are fantastic. Dr. Rachel Wellner with us today here on our big program. So, Dr. Wellner, what exactly do you want folks to get out of these books? What are some of the goals that you're hoping you accomplish?
Well, I want to bring awareness to young people about basic health issues. That's my main overarching goal, is to bring awareness about big health issues like nutrition, hand washing. The next one is about sun protection. Very big sort of mainstream health issues that children should start learning about young to lead a healthy life going forward.
Dr. Rachel Wellner with us today. She joins us live, coast to coast, border to border, iHeartRadio, also AM, FM. 247.com, of course, 990 WBOB in Rhode Island. And she's with us here on the Sunday radio broadcast. So, Dr. Wellner, what's been some of the reviews and some of the feedback you've gotten on these books so far?
Humbly, a lot of people have really enjoyed the characters, the illustrations. They've really gotten engaged in the mystery as I wanted them to. And they have learned the positive messages about health that I've been intending. So, everything that I hoped I would receive as feedback has been happening. Like, people do sort of get along. They dig Dr. Rue. They like her. She's affable. She's friendly. She's somebody that children really are attracted to as a character, and they've been getting engaged in the stories and learning a health lesson or two, which is exactly my intention. Fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big program, the fantastic Dr. Wellner. And before we let you go, how do people get in touch with you on social media and the websites and all these things, Dr. Wellner? Thank you. www.drrue.health is the website for Dr. Rue. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on all of the above.
Fantastic. Well, Dr. Wellner, have yourself a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. There she goes. That is Dr. Rachel Wellner. She joins us today here on our big program, and we are going to go to our next guest. He's going to join us live here in just a few seconds, and we will connect with him on the old Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney, and we will go to our next guest and join us here in just a few moments. And we've got our guest, and Lance, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you.
Now, we have got a lot of great stuff going on. Tell us about your latest project here.
Well, we're talking about Orleans, of course, of which I am one of the two remaining surviving founding members. And during lockdowns, what are you going to do if you can't play? Well, time to make a record. And so we learned a bunch of remote skills, like recording at our own homes, sending files to the center. I actually produced the thing with our engineer, and we decided to make a Christmas album, first of its kind in our land, as we approach our 50th year. The idea was, since we were making these YouTube videos during the being locked down last year, we wound up with 4 new productions, having learned these skills: audio, video, remote recording, each of us. And then we said, well, we got more time, let's finish and make a whole record for our 50th year. Then the next thought was, well, let's make a Christmas album because that has a sooner deadline. And so we worked on that beginning of the first of the year and finished. Took an amazingly long amount of time because of the tedium of file sharing as the medium by which to get it all done. So we finished we supposed to finish by June 1st. It wasn't until July 3rd, I think, that we turned the thing in. But I'm very pleased with it. 12 songs of various natures from various sources. And we can talk more about that as you want.
Yes, indeed. So tell us about the writing and production process and everything that's involved with this.
So when we took this thought on, okay, well, what songs do we want to include? Because we only had one Christmas song ever that we recorded, Song of John and Johanna Hall's, that they wrote actually hoping Alabama would cut. And Alabama passed, but and this is in the 80s. But instead, Ricky Skaggs did a duet with James Taylor on it, which was pretty cool. And that's called New Star Shining. We did our own version of it in 94 for a collection for Japan. It was called Woodstock Holidays. So it only came out in Japan. We did include it we made like a from our own vaults kind of CD in 2002, and it appears there, but nowhere else. So that was the starting point, and became the title track, "New Star Shining." And then, okay, so where are we going to get these songs from? John had written a couple in his history that were good contenders. Fly Amero, our longtime guitar player, had a few in his pocket. I got one from Wayne Nelson from Little River Band, one from Joe Puerta from Ambrosia, because we had done a Christmas show with them, and we learned these songs when we did that. We did one that was, see, my family's all musical, and back in the 80s, my mom was playing for church, piano for church, organ, and the four siblings were enlisted to sing a 4-part traditional at that service, and I had that on it was recorded on one of those little cassette recorders with the built-in microphones.
That's awesome.
We're talking 85. So
that's fantastic.
That had been digitized and floating around. And my younger brother, Lane, who's been with us for 20-something years, he and I agreed that would be a good thing. So we recreated that quartet, John and me and Fly and Lane, and put a string quartet to it. So it's that's the flavor there. And one of the songs, in scouring YouTube for content last year to keep posting, we posted like 40 weeks of shows consecutively while we were waiting to get back on the road from our libraries. And I had stumbled across a performance that Larry had done. Larry being my older brother, the radio voice of Orleans, who passed away in 2012. So he had done a version of Winter Wonderland for some fundraiser, as he was wont to do for many good causes. And I was contacted in 2017, I remember, by the guy who recorded it, asking if I wanted to play bass on it and if I had any use for it. And nothing ever came to pass, except now was the time of the strike. And so Larry appears posthumously in this kind of New York kind of arrangement of Winter Wonderland, which is very cool. A lot of the songs had previous lives, or maybe a third of them. Like New Star Shining just needed remastering. It didn't need any upgrading. Some of the songs needed augmentation, like a couple of Fly songs. We replaced the background vocal. We went back to the multi-tracks, right? And then stripped off what was there, embellished and added our own voices, and didn't need to replace the band. The band was fine, but it was our voices that made it Orleans. And John had this great song called "The Quiet Place" that he cut in the 90s, and it was a very bare bones recording, just acoustic guitar, lead vocal, little bit of a synth keyboard, and John Sebastian playing harmonica, not much else. So we didn't have multi tracks on that. We just had that mix. But I heard this big background vocal arrangement. I heard this drum treatment that was going to be, it's like, this could be very, very cool. So with John's blessing, in order to do this, to communicate with the guys, okay, I have this idea for a background arrangement. Well, I have to sing all the parts. I had to sing all the parts and then send them out to the guys and say, you sing that part, send it back to me. You sing that part, send it back to me. So compiling the thing that way. And then I had this idea for a drum thing, which was, and this track is not metronomic by any, it's ebb and flow. So it's like you can't just lay drums on top of it. So it became this big production with marching drums and a conga and like all these things that we did one at a time to this ebb and flow track, a lot of digital editing. But in the end, it all feels like it's done live in the studio, and the ebb and flow is part of it. So that's the one I'm most pleased with, most challenging, and most, I think, most adventurous production. And I think turned out really great. So a lot of the songs, so a third of them were kind of already done. A third of them needed that kind of upgrading. A third of them we started from scratch. Newer things. Actually, at the end, got to cut a few things John, me, and our drummer Brady to start, which is more normal. And so you have this 12-song collection of diverse styles within this Christmas universe. Some of it's secular, some of it is Christmas story, and it's very much like Orleans in that it is eclectic stylistically. For better or worse, we've always incorporated a bunch of different influences and called it our own.
That's tremendous. That is tremendous. We have got a great guest with us today. I'll tell you, I loved just everything, all the explanation that you went through with all that, because nobody ever really explains that. So that was fantastic that you were able to take us through that whole thing. I just think that's great.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted me to keep going or just...
Actually, I would love for you to keep going, because you just explained so much of that. It was amazing.
Well, I want to contrast it to the old days, when we did our hits, when we did Still the One, we did Dance with Me. All the way back to, anything pre-1990, There was no digital. It was all analog. And so picture 3 or 4 guys standing around one mic, singing the correct lyrics, in tune, in balance with each other, with the same phrasing, and getting that right. And then once you have it right, do it again and match it, because we're doubling vocals, so you get that texture.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is organic and real, and there's no fudging. There was no auto tuning. There was no this or that. You could punch in and out, but only within the. You were going over something when you punched in. It was gone. So with digital these days, you can do amazing things that are shortcuts that get you, a similar result. As long as you don't overdo it, as long as you don't take all the humanness out of it. You can kind of sing in tune, and then you can make it in tune. You can even adjust one person's phrasing to match another person's phrasing.
Yes.
I mean, the software is incredible these days. So, it kind of is horseshoes and hand grenades. If you're close enough, you can make it.
That's awesome.
You can make it better. But, of course, you have to start with good, like really good. But you don't have to. It doesn't take as long to get it right. What took long in this process is the back and forth, the file sharing, people's schedules.
Yes.
I can't record because there's a dump truck outside my house. I mean, things like that. Stuff like that,
Yes.
So,
yes.
But it was a really very cool process to learn these new skills. I never had any need for home recording. If I was going to do something, I went to a studio. But now it was like, okay, well, what do I do? And so with the help of our audio engineer, a guy named Mike Malfisi, who we first started working with on the road in 1980. So that's 41 years, right? So longtime friend and ally. He has a home studio 30 minutes from me. So when it was time, I would go up there and we would, put things together and tweak and make things better. And then, record some more and then come back next week and fix some things. So we did that over the course of months. I think he said he put in over 1,000 hours. And I put in
holy smokes,
nearly that kind of time because I had to guide the project. And to his credit, he would not take a dime. He wouldn't take a dime. We had to buy him I bought him a board and some software, please take that. But so in the end, because that would have been very expensive, 1,000+ hours of engineering time. But that aside, the whole project cost us less than $9,000.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? I mean,
that.
Because old school budgets are like, how many hundreds of thousands can you spend?
Oh, yeah. That's always how it is.
Yeah. So these days, anyone, on a laptop, I mean, look at the Billie Eilish thing, that whole record was done, like their bedroom or something with her brother. So it's a new world, is what I'm saying.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Is that the biggest thing that you've seen as far as the way music is done and perceived and all that?
You know, we have an album and a song called Analog Man. Actually, the album's called Analog Men, and the song's Analog Men. And I am essentially that. I'm not tech averse. I'm just slow to adopt. And at 68, you know, and other people are, you know, cutting edge, and anything in between. So I don't understand a lot of what young musicians are doing, young producers, and how they do it. I mean, and I'm not really, I don't really need to know that. What I need to know is how to use these tools to do what we do, which is sing and play, right? We're not sequencing and programming, and, you know, we're doing what we always do. We've never deviated from who we are. Like, if it's trendy or it's not trendy, it's like, this is how I hear things. This is how we approach things. This is how I see song structure. This is instrumentation that makes sense to me. You know, like, so you know, there's a thread through this whole 50 years. And it's that Larry used to say, you know, we make music the old fashioned way. We sing and play it ourselves, you know? So there's no tricks to our stuff other than, you know, what you can do in digital editing to make it better, but it's not like we're fabricating. And I don't know that anybody else is. I mean, people, I just don't get, what I don't get doesn't matter to anybody else. It's because somebody else gets it, and there's a market for everything. So we're just trying to do what we can do. We didn't intend to make another record, I'll tell you that. It was just that the time appeared and was the right call. So beyond this Christmas CD, we have that 50th year album, but it's about 60% done. So when we can muster the gumption, the willpower, the motivation to finish, we will likely do that too. Put a final nail in this coffin that refuses to stay shut. It's like one more album, you know, one more. I don't know if that answered your question.
So,
but, you know.
So with all the things that are going on, where do you guys, do you ever think that we will get back to making records and things like you guys did back in the day, or will we do, you know, every moron with a laptop and cool edit or whatever the hell we'll be able to make a record?
No, things don't go backwards. Nobody's going to. You know, last night I was watching this documentary on Montserrat on George Martin's studio, and it's been around a long time, but it was. I mean, Stuart Copeland, drummer for the Police, he kind of said it. Yeah, it's good to have a big room to record drums, but once you recorded your drums in the big room, just go into your your bedroom with your laptop, and then you can finish the rest there. So nobody's going to retro to that old school methodology because it's just way cheaper, way easier, better, more available. Now, so the yin yang of that, the double-edged sword is there's really no bar to entry. Anybody with a laptop can make a record.
Yeah.
Is it, I don't know how many, like 40,000 new tracks being uploaded every, whatever it is, day, week, month, but still, it's an endless supply with not a lot of quality control. There's no gatekeepers, there's no labels, you know, anybody can get in. So you have to sift through a lot. And I guess the algorithms at Spotify or Pandora or whatever help you find things that you like, but again, I don't really indulge in that stuff very much. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really listen to a lot of music these days. I do what we do, and I have other things, other projects that require my attention that are not Orleans, And so when somebody asks me, what are you listening to these days? It's what I need to know next, what I have to play next, what I have to learn.
Yeah.
For these, I'm a music director on these big multi-act shows with 8 or 9 rock singers, and sometimes I have no clue what I need to do to guide the team to a successful show. So that's where my focus is. And so I guess I don't know if that answered your question either. I'm just rambling.
No. You're good. You're good. You're doing you're saying all the right stuff, my friend. So, how do we get this Christmas album that you guys have put together here?
Well, there are many ways to do it. My preference, go to Orleans Online and order it directly from us, orleansonline.com. But you can get it anywhere. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it anywhere you normally buy your music. You can hear it. Here's the thing. If you go to orleansonline.com, and you can actually listen to the whole thing without even buying it. And then if you buy it, great. But that's because we're hooked up with a thing called Bandcamp.
Yes.
That's where so I needed the players because our store went kerplunk when Flash went kerplunk. So I needed the players, and the deal with them is you can't put up 30-second snippets. You have to put up the whole thing that you're going to be selling, right? So
yeah, unfortunately.
So by default, you can hear the whole thing. You can hear everything we have up there anytime you want. And if you want to buy it, great. And if not, God love you.
That's fantastic. You have been amazing. We will definitely have to do this again because this was fantastic. So, do you guys do much social media, or is it pretty much just the website? And
we have a Facebook page, Orleans Music, and that's another thing. I don't have a personal Facebook page. I never did. I never wanted one. I think it probably was pretty smart in retrospect, seeing what's happened. I think social media is, has such promise, and it's just so divisive. It's just not really healthy. So no, I don't really have time for it. Or inclination. However, again, when we had the lockdowns, it was how are we going to stay relevant, stay connected to our fans, whatever. I revived our email list, which hadn't been used in a long time because not everybody's on Facebook or whatever. And we undertook to create these shows, not just, post to YouTube one song. I have like concerts that are divvied up that way. Like we did all these shows at Opus 40 near Woodstock over the years, and so I grouped them in by year, and then I posted that whole show for the year in 1 week, and then another, and Japan, and this and that, and it wound up being 30 weeks of content, so we called it Video Thursdays, right? So every Thursday, our Facebook and email crowd could expect a new show from us, and if we had anything to say in the meantime, great. But that's about the extent to which I use social media. And I haven't done it in a while because we've been working, We started playing again June 5th and just, had a pretty good run up right until November 13th. And now we're kind of kicking down for the winter. And I just kind of need it. We have a big spring coming up and a good year ahead of us in year 50. I to answer your question, would behoove us to be more active on social media, but it's never been a thing that I gravitated to.
Well, I appreciate you making time today, coming on and chatting, and we will definitely talk to you soon. Good luck with the record and everything, and have yourself a Merry Christmas, my friend.
And you too. You take care.
Thank you, my friend. There he goes, the fantastic band Orleans, and they join us today here on our big program. And you could join us on 990 WBOB each and every week. It is